Welcome back everybody to the Wandering Samurai Study, which we review and analyze every single act told in Rurouni Kenshin, and today's act is Act 79, The Thinnest Blade. Considering where we are in the story right now and how dire the situation seems to be getting with Kenshin having injured his knee now, or his leg, and making him a little bit more immobile, I just noticed that there are no jokes in this chapter, but it became very apparent to me when Misao got angry, and I'm just so used to Misao and Okina being the comedic relief right now that Yahiko and Kaoru aren't really around. That is just like, oh, dang, yeah, things are pretty tense. But I don't know, just a quick observation, but let's get into the chapter summary review and we'll get into the rest of the chapter, everyone. Cho unleashes his final hidden sword, Hakujin, Shakku's long twisting blade, and strikes Kenshin's thigh, making it difficult for him to dodge all of Cho's advancements. Kenshin does his best to fend off Cho using the remaining pieces of his sheath, but the sword hunter has a clear advantage. With Kenshin as a distraction, Seiku readies himself to jump in and save Iori. Okina and Misao remind Seiku that Kenshin is there to save Iori, and later he overhears Kenshin tell Cho that he fights so that Iori may grow up never needing to battle. With this statement, Seiku jumps into the battlefield but does not run in to save Iori, instead to retrieve his father's final sword, trusting Kenshin with it. So first off, let's talk about Shakku's Hakujin. Upon looking up the name, I thought that it would be called Hakujin based off it being long and twisting, but it turns out that it's called Hakujin because of it being bare and naked. And my guess is that it has something to do with it not having a sheath. When we first see the Hakujin, it's wrapped around Cho's stomach, almost looking like a protective armor. I guess it makes sense, you know, like the blade is way too long for it to be sheathed like a normal sword, so why would it have a sheath? And with that not having a sheath, I guess you can kind of just lean into it being bare and naked. The sword also has a very heavy tip, which Cho makes sure to mention, almost making it kind of like a whip. And the way that the sword works, and like some of the poses that we get from Cho in this chapter, I would have believed that Cho, just based off of his character design, he would look more like a whip user than a sword hunter, but kind of keeping in theme with the storyline that we're in right now, with Kenshin needing a sword and Cho being a sword hunter, the two being at odds with one another. The character design, sure, he looks great with the whip, or it looks like he would be a whip user, but having a mixture of both the whip and the sword is a cool combination, and I'm glad that it's something that exists and that we have here. It makes Cho very unique, and I have to imagine that in the Kenshin video games, which I've never played, and I've heard that they're not very good, if Cho was a fighter, he would be using the Hakujin. And of course, I want to point out that there is some irony to Shakku's family being in danger by the weapons that he's created. But anyways, let's move on to why Kenshin fights. It's amazing that as the situation continues to go, it becomes more and more futile for Kenshin. We can kind of use his sheath as a measurement for how how things are going for Kenshin. And we'll see this a little bit more in the following chapter. But here it is, like, as the sheath just gets smaller and smaller, Kenshin is just it's kind of like his lifeline, or like the health meter in a video game. Now with Kenshin having injured his leg, it just makes it worse for him. And with Cho and the whip-like sword, Cho doesn't even need to get inside of Kenshin's area. But despite all of this, it's really cool to see Kenshin continue to get under Cho's skin, and with his warrior face. Like, Cho kind of gets a little bit annoyed and tells Kenshin that you're kind of making me out to be the bad guy, but like, dude, you are not the good guy either. So it just kind of shows a little bit of Cho's personality and how he has like a very twisted way of seeing the world and how he kind of gets his jollies off of it. But on the reason why Kenshin fights, it's so that Iori may never fight. This is what it's all about. This is what Kenshin lives his life for. It's what he joined the Bakumatsu for, so that people like Iori no longer have to touch a weapon to survive, so that war may be something that could be avoided, or battle could be avoided. So Iori is very important in Kenshin, despite having just met the child. Anybody who would be in this situation is important to Kenshin. Well, this is how Kenshin has earned Seiku's trust, despite him not really looking for it, not really needing Seiku's help, or needing Seiku's help but not seeking it, or demanding it. And it's just a way of Kenshin showing his character through his actions. When Seiku jumps into the battlefield, Kenshin already assumes that he's there for his child, and when that doesn't happen, I think it really surprises Kenshin, because why else would he be in there? But with Seiku jumping into the battlefield and going for the blade for his father's final masterpiece instead of saving Iori, this is the big shocking moment that Okina kind of helps contribute to being here, because as everybody has that mindset that Kenshin is gonna be the distraction, Okina kind of helps Seiku align himself where he could trust Kenshin. It's through Kenshin's actions, but Okina kind of highlighting it, like, look, take a look at what's going on here. He's not fighting for himself. He never actually asked you for the blade. He respected your wishes and just went on his way. But as soon as he found out that your son was in danger, before anybody else, he got here. Before the man got here, Kenshin was already here waiting for him, ready to protect your son or to save your son. And that's how we got to this point now, where in the next chapter, we're going to find Seiku giving Kenshin the blade, and what that could possibly mean for Kenshin, and this whole Kenshin looking for a sword mini arc within Kyoto. It's all being kind of like leading up to this, and I think that this is the point in in this little mini arc where things are reaching its climax, and I for one am just so excited. I'm already on the next chapter. But let's go ahead and wrap it up from here and call it a day in the moment. This has been Act 79 of Rurouni Kenshin. If you like this video and you want to see more, then consider subscribing to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and comment down below something that you enjoyed about this chapter. I really liked what did I like? I really like Kenshin's whole thing about Iori being the generation that he fights for, so that Iori may never fight. I think it's such a sweet sentiment, and it really goes in theme with the whole story arc of Rurouni Kenshin, and the whole like vowing to never kill again, and having fought in the first place so that people like Iori may exist, never having to touch a weapon. Anyways, comment down below something that you enjoyed about this chapter, and I will see you guys down below. Bye, chan. Fully expecting him to jump in to protect his son. When he uses